destroying everything. It's not just my government, of course. It's the Israeli government as well. Evil begets evil. That's why they collaborate with one another. But of course, I don't blame the U.S. For their evil. We were both colonial projects of the British, one of the most evil governments in the world. Um, Israel, if you haven't been paying attention, I mean, it's hard not to. Um, yeah, they've been on a tear lately, just killing all kinds of innocent people. Um, this was always part of the project, you know. First Nakba happened some decades ago when the Europeans felt like they were entitled to a bunch of brown people's lands because of how awful they were treated by a bunch of Europeans who were funded by the British as well as American companies. Um, it's almost like they learned the history of how the world shook their head at the genocide of the Native Americans. And then they were like, let's create a narrative to give a bunch of white people the land over there in the Middle East. So, 1917, you have the Declaration of Balfour, where they declare that they're about to steal all this Palestinian land, land of Jesus. Jesus looked a lot more like Palestinian people than the white people who are stealing their land. But they said this was our land. That's why we. This is where the sun kissed us and we got all our melanin because you know we were here a few thousand years ago. They won't let Mexicans back in the U.S. Even though you know U.S. used to be Mexico. They're Native Americans who learned Spanish. So it's like all kinds of double standards, ugly fucking double standards, where the empire really reveals itself in its evil. Um, but yeah, it's just a lot of people are catching on to it. That's why you're seeing um, people protesting wall to wall across the world. So it's protests in my city, protests in your city, no doubt. Nobody's protesting in celebration of the Israeli settlers who are still in their land. It's all like in recognition of the colonial project that is run by some of the most evil Ashkenazis. I used to always say Hitler was, you know, you read Hitler's writings, which, you know, some people do and they fall in love with it, but I just do it just to understand how some of these people think. But like he always said he was setting a plate for the Fourth Reich. Fourth Reich, you know, one could easily assume it's the U.S. That's one of the things I always assume, you know, because that was our ascension into power. We became the world's police after World War II. After we signed our Lend-Lease program with Winston Churchill incentivizing it, we became like Ukraine or Israel. We're like big Israel Ukraine. That's what we are. We're the bitch. We fight for the European governments, and we spend our money to do it. They get health care, we don't, because we're not European enough for well, it's a terminology I heard people use. What is it? It's it's just like we're not. Oh shit! I heard it was someone who was from Chicago who was like he's like into banking and it's something I heard used on the news. But he was like yeah, I understand the appeal of European style healthcare, but he was like we're not homogenic enough. You know, we don't have like we got too many races, too many different colors of people to have healthcare. So we instead of spending our money on healthcare, we're funding wars in Ukraine, sending them enough money to wipe out homelessness in our country, wipe out hunger in the world, and then now we're giving more money to Israel. Um, these fucking zealot bigots. If you aren't aware, Israel around the time the end of South African apartheid, when the Boers were realizing the jig is up, they converted to Judaism, and then they moved to Israel. And then when you started to accuse them of apartheid, the same apartheid they were doing in South Africa, they said you were an anti-Semite, even though they were killing Semitic people, mowing the lawn, talking about them with lack of humanity, recognition of their personhood. So yeah, it's just it's all a narrative. You know, like I said, that land was signed over to them back in 1917. I'm not saying that Jewish people weren't treated like they were less than human, but that was by other Europeans. They were treated like shit by European people who treated all colored people like shit. But then they were like, you know what? If we had to have this land for somebody, at least they better be white. They can have a different ideology, but the skin tone puts them in the end zone, so they win, and we'll back them up. And the British people, they funded Hitler. Then they were like, we're gonna fund the expelling the Palestinian people from their land. So yeah, they're color obsessed, and you know, I've been wearing the red, green, and black for a lot longer before this whole Palestinian shit kicked off, and it's more so because it's just anti-colonial colors. So it's like it's the Pan-African colors. If you aren't familiar with the Pan-African movement, made popular in the U.S. by Marcus Garvey, the first FBI agents who are black were enrolled into the FBI so they can infiltrate Marcus Garvey's movement and destroy it from the inside. So anytime you hear like people like, oh, FBI, they're cool, they got our back. No. If Donald Trump is going against the FBI, got no love for Donald Trump, but I hate the FBI more. FBI has committed way more atrocities. They killed more of my heroes along with the CIA than Thanos and Darkseid combined. You know, like they're the actual evil people. They need to be abolished. I don't know if anyone could recognize my Halloween costume. I got a party coming up, so it can't be too long with the live broadcast. But you know, the character I am is definitely inspired by someone who was killed by our intelligence agencies. But it's also a crossover with another character. I'll give you a hint. The white man wants you to think black magic is evil. But I subscribe to black magic being good. I don't know. If you couldn't tell, I'm Malcolm X. That's what that is. So it's like if Malcolm X, he survived and he went to Hogwarts, and then he became transhousal, where he became, he started, they threw him in Slytherin because he's black. They're just like, oh, he's a snake. But then he crossed houses and became Gryffindor, just so he can combine the red, green, and black, because, it's just, and the gold as well, because that's also, when you look at the Pan-African colors, they got multiple flags. One is red, green, and black. One is red, green, and gold. But, I think they should all be combined, because the red, green, and black is gold to me. That's why it's just like this. It's a clip I find particularly disgusting, as well as revealing about the mind of the Israeli colonizers, who are thieves, violent criminals, who are robbing us, the American people, British people, all Western countries, so they can continue robbing Palestinians of life, land, and their futures. So let's just take a look at what these disgusting people have to say. And this has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. These are the most anti-Semitic people. Because like I said, the Palestinian people are Semitic people. Jesus is supposed to have come from this land. Jesus looks a lot more Palestinian than like this fucking dickwad. But he feels like he's entitled to that land, as well as his other Ashkenazi brethren. But let's hear his opinions on the red, green, and black coloring.
understand, and I can see the colors that you are wearing this evening, and that's why I am purposely wearing blue and white. Because with all due respect to the green, the red, and the black that you have purposely put on this evening, blue and white will always prevail.
Blue and white will always prevail. You know who said that? The Crips, the white racist Crips who thought that they were entitled to a bunch of red, green, and black land. He's a racist piece of shit, and he's proud of having the same colors as Pfizer. If you aren't familiar, Pfizer, they had mandatory jabs out in Israel, right? They were experimenting on these people, right? So for them to do that, for them to have this policy, they had to forego the Nuremberg codes. Nuremberg codes established after World War II, where it's just like you have to have someone's knowing consenting knowledge that they were the experiments that were undergone upon them. But yeah, he's like they were like, yeah, let's just jab everybody with this Pfizer, this blue and white Pfizer jab, and we will see how it affects our people. You know, they thought that would eradicate the coronavirus, and instead they had like upticks in the coronavirus because the jab that he's wearing the colors of did a lot more harm than helping. It did not help you stop the spread. It did not help you, prevent you from going to the hospital. Matter of fact, it made you go to the hospital for new shit. I can't get into all the details of it because companies like YouTube are run by Google, and Google was directly invested in the medicines that they forced onto the Israeli people as well as the American people, all Western governments. So, those are the colors he's wearing and the colors he celebrates. And he sees anyone wearing red, green, and black, and he views them as the enemy, like a Crip. This motherfucker is just like his mindset. It's just color obsessed. I wear the red, green, and black, partly in due to the solidarity with the Palestinian people, but also just like I said, it's just anti-colonial colors. Solidarity amongst the people who have the longer history that gets deprived from them, and then like it gets co-opted by people like him, because he wants you to think, oh yeah, those Jews back in Palestine so many thousands of years ago, they looked like him. No, no. This is I don't know if he's like Russian. I don't know if he's Polish. I don't know where his people come from. It's definitely Europe. It's definitely like they were in the Caucasus Mountains during the last ice age, losing their pigment. It's not like they hail from the land of Christ, because Christ looks like he's definitely more melanated than he is, like closer to that, maybe a little darker. But yeah, it's just like the land that your people live in for several millennia. It conditions their skin. In Palestine, it's one of those lands where if you live there long enough, you will get melanated. And we come from melanated people, and some people lost the melanin, and they were run by psychopaths for so long that they just started to adjust to their ways. And he's one of those psychopathic, bloodmongers, disgusting people. Like I said, it's nothing to do with his religion. It's to do with the hate in his heart. And it's just it's a sad thing to see. Just him adopting these talking points, but she kind of puts him in check a little bit. Let's see what she has to say.
Let's not divide colors on the basis of religion. It sometimes happens in my country as well. Let's not do that. Hiba Hosseini, both sides, Frederick, both sides have accused each other of propaganda. I wanted to hear from both of you, which I've done. Also to tell you, Frederick, the garment I'm wearing is a sari, and it's my grandmother's. If she was alive, she would have been about 105 years old today. She didn't know what his Israel-Hamas conflict was, and the sari in no way signifies any support for any side. What is happening, what has happened in Gaza, the bombing of the hospital, 5 people dead, is simply criminal. What I'm wearing right now is simply my grandmother's sari. It signifies nothing else.
Beautiful.
We'll leave it there for the
Save
moment.
it for a
Thank you very
different
much.
occasion.
Frederick?
Save it for a different occasion. This motherfucker feels like he, not only is he entitled to that land, he's entitled to tell her what to wear, when to wear it. You can't wear those colors. You little racist sack of shit. You can't show any solidarity, and she's going out of her way to bring in an alternative perspective. She's trying to get both sides of the story. I mean, I wish our news was more like that. I wish our news like not only covered the Israeli warmongers who are killing people, who are saying let's bounce the rubble, let's nuke Palestine, let's do all this violent shit towards these Palestinians, treat them like they're human. They're not human. They're human animals. You know, these are the voices you hear on our news media. But she's going out of her way to bring in the people who were victimized by Israel, as well as the psychopaths who run Israel's government. So it's just like it's commendable. But you know, she's being told, oh, you can't wear that. Don't wear something different, bitch. You gotta change your clothes. You change your clothes, change your mind. Get that shit out of your mind. These Palestinians, they ain't human. They ain't worthy of your sympathy. Let's not cover their perspective. Only cover ours. Because once again, racist sack of shit. He's a white crip. That's why he's wearing white and blue.
Frederick, no, Frederick, I will not let you choose what I wear, and I will not let you choose what I say. I will say what I have to say, and I will speak the truth the way I see it. Truth, of course, has many versions. There is one version coming from Israel, and there's another version coming from Gaza. We've put both out. That is our journalistic duty, Fred.
Yeah, we put both out, and Israel's full of shit. It's just like my government, run by psychopaths. That's why they get along so well. Yeah, I just look forward to seeing all the highest upper echelon members of my government and the corporations that run them doing the perp walk. I will like sing hallelujah. I will go to the arraignment of these criminals. I'll be there. We can like throw eggs. We can like throw tomatoes. We can just talk shit about them, laugh at them, you know, because the thing, these motherfuckers like to assume that they're elite. It's like the elite class. I hate when people call them elite. The elites are running our society. They're apex parasites. They contribute nothing to our society. They just drain us dry. No value. Only value they have is just, getting out the most for themselves, continuing the corruption that plagues our government, creating systems of violence, death, destruction. And it's just like we need to alter our values. We need to have a total shift in what we deem to be valuable traits. So instead of like we can dominate you, we can kill you, we can steal and extract from you, we need to we can get the poison out of our water that the industries that these motherfuckers own have been putting in there for decades. We can figure out how to turn that into some alternative energy source, where you put this dirty ass water into your car or your house, and then you have power for a few days, and then at the end of that you have clean water. These are things that if we chose to invest our intellectual prowess in, we could flourish. But we're run by psychopaths like this. But there is hope. Not all white Jews are Ashkenazis. I mean, yes, if you're a Zionist, even if you're not Jewish, you're an Ashkenazi. I mean, that's a pretty Nazi-like behavior. wanting to exterminate thousands of millions of children, because half of Gaza is children. And right now they're on a killing campaign, killing sprees, just dropping all kinds of munitions, no regard for their life or their humanity. However, a lot of the people, mostly different countries, a lot of the Jewish people, even white Jews, um, they're they're knowledgeable of the game that's being played, so they're speaking up against it. So this is a rabbi who's talking about the plight of the Palestinians. Oh, it's no longer available. Are you joshing me? For real? Did they take it down that quick? I just verified this shit was lit and live. Okay. Okay, let's see. Please work.
Day for this 75 years of occupation. We want the world to know that what is being perpetrated against the Palestinian people, the oppression, the subjugation, the terrible cruelty, is not in the name of our religion. It is not in the name of the Star of David. It is not in the name of the Jewish people around the world who are true to the Jewish religion. Because we are Jewish and because we are true to our religion, we are in total opposition to the existence of the Zionist state of Israel. I call it Zionist state of Israel because it is Zionist. It is not Jewish. Judaism in the Torah forbids Jews to have our own sovereignty, our own entity since the destruction of the temples, and Jews true to the Torah never aspire or try to have our own state. We also are forbidden to kill or to steal. The whole concept of taking this land away from the Palestinian people, it is totally antithetical and is contradictory to my religion, Judaism. Jews have always, from day one, stood up against this Zionist entity. We are...
Well, let's see. I think for most human beings, murdering and robbing people of their land is wrong. Like, it's just something that just sits, it's in the pit of your stomach. It's like, I just killed someone that stole their shit. It's like, that's wrong. You know, that's why we got so many suicides in our military, because they get hired to be hitmen. It's like, okay, I need to feed my family. Okay, so I'll join the military. They think they're going to be Captain America, G.I. Joe, or whatever. And it's just like they're killing innocent people and stealing their shit, making the lives of those people worse. And then it catches up to them like, oh, I was lied to. I am the bad guy. And then they have a moral injury so deep where it's just like they feel there's no other option but to kill themselves, you know, because they were soldiers of these corporations. But I would implore those people who are going through this. I understand it's a lot to drink in, that you have been doing evil for motherfuckers like this, or where is he? This little gang leader who's telling this woman what she can and can't wear. I implore you to no longer be a soldier of corporations, but to instead be a warrior of love. You know, try to. I watched the was it the Punisher series where he was like a soldier. It was on Netflix. He was a soldier. He realized he was being lied to. Then he went after the people who were lying to him, killing his people and stuff like that. And yeah, because warrior knows what they're fighting for. A soldier is just taking orders. You need to stop taking orders from some evil motherfuckers. Read Smedley Butler's War is a Racket. He caught on real quick. They're trying to install fascism into the U.S. I mean, they've already successfully done it. But he was someone who was holding off. He was like, they came to him. They wanted him to overthrow FDR. He was pretending along like, okay, sure, I'll do it. Wink, wink. And then he went to the U.S. government with the plan. He went to Congress with their plan, and nobody was arrested. So all the families who run the corporations who were plotting on overthrowing our government, they got away, and they eventually won. Total fascistic state. That's why we're collaborating with Israel. However, this gentleman is, God bless him for putting the knowledge out there that this is no good, and a lot of people, they can't speak out against the Israeli government without being considered anti-Semites, because the criminals, they caught on, when they were like, if we could go back to when the natives were being genocided, having their land taken. If the Brits can learn from their mistakes, they would just, oh no, we're the underclass. We were entitled to this land because of how these European leaders treated these people. So this is our land, and if you speak out against our genocide, you're anti-Semitic. This is the message they learn. It's like, continue colonizing, just turn yourself into the victim. But here's a video. It was like I said, it was protests around the world, not just the country, around the world, usually led by Jewish people who are against the Zionism that's being done in their name. So these are hundreds of Jewish people in New York City being arrested for peacefully protesting against the genocide taking place in Palestine. And it's just like acknowledgement that this is a fascist dictatorship. Was it? I do believe it was George Carlin who said, "World War II, Germany lost, fascism won." This is proof, and that's why I start to question if the U.S. is the Fourth Reich, because Hitler was, like watching Germany. Now they were like sending troops to Israel to back up Israel in this conflict. And they were saying they were obligated to do it because of what they did in World War II. So it's like they have to kill these brown people who had nothing to do with what all these white people, when they were just killing each other randomly. They had nothing to do with it. But the Germans, they have to back up Israel because justice or whatever. Instead of giving them land, instead of like, okay, y'all can move to Germany, it's like, we have to kill these brown people and give their land to you, which is just like, it just proves that this whole shit is a farce. It makes no sense. But I digress. I've been watching you for years, like 9 years, I think. Well, closing in on a decade. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, and it's a lot more to watch. I also got like, it's I say a kid series. I got like something kind of explaining some of the history. Cause I'm like, I got to write this paper for a class, and I want to present the information kid-friendly way to just help better understand current things going on in the world. Because it's several books that are covering some of the subject matter that I just had to read for this class, and I was gonna present it in a way that just better informs the viewer, even if you're super young, you don't really understand it. If you understand, we could be taught to understand, that genocide against Native Americans is wrong. We could easily be taught to understand that genocide is going on right now are wrong, and they've been going on for decades. They've been in the pipeline for longer than that. It's just like a class of people who feel extremely entitled. So, and it's also a prelude to upcoming theatrical production, which is not going to be necessarily kid friendly. But it's going to tie into some of the subject matter. So if you did watch it, and I don't want to get too deep into the details. Part of it's just going to be a surprise. But yeah, so it's just new stuff. NatesVlogs.net for all that. LMAO, he's telling what not to wear because God, look his hair. God took his hair. Yes, it's a piece of shit. Well, and God told him to steal a bunch of brown people's land. Well, it is Jesus of Palestine because he literally is from Palestine. Yes. And he was way more melanated than a lot of racist colonizers believe. You know, the people who think they're entitled to that land. By the way, they have my money and I want it back. I have my tax dollars. That's one of the things I would love to just like see us like figure out. Like all these countries, you know, like Ukraine, Israel, you know, these dictatorships, these violent criminals that we fund with our tax dollars, even the fucking military. How do we get that shit back? Like, I don't. Who wants to pay taxes for war? Like, we could spend hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars on war. No health care, no basic coverage, like no protection if you lose your home. You know, like we still got corporations artificially raising our housing prices. So we got more empty houses than we got homeless people. But no one wants to give these homeless people homes. Um, so it's just like something needs to be figured out. But we won't move in the right direction when we're run by criminals like Joe Biden. He's one of those people I would love to see doing the perp walk. Him, all the corporations that run him, everybody in Google, everybody in Google who didn't stand up and protest. Was it Project Maven? You know, because Google it's a tricky needle to thread because there's been a lot of cooperation with the Pentagon and the CIA, but then once the people who actually create the technology we use realized that their intellectual prowess was being used for evil, thousands of them protested. Those people, like, I salute y'all. This is what we need. We need people to just stand up, walk away from the war machine. But your bosses who got back into those contracts that they said y'all were getting out of, they need to be locked up. They need to be brought to justice. Something needs to be done. Um, I fully advocate seeing that. Hogwarts, LMAO. Hey, who told you I had warts? On my hog, no less. What are you doing to? What are you going to be for Halloween? Oh, you weren't here. But Viva the Revolution. I'm Malcolm X, brother. Malcolm X. Uh, homogeneous. Yes, that's it. The Ashkenazis are protesting only because they're losing their PR battles with the younger generation. I think that there's a cold calculating aspect to some people's protests, but I think a lot of it's just genuine because like how can you see families being bombed and not feel something, you know? I mean, I do think there are a lot of heartless people out there. You know, it's like there are genuine psychopaths. They're the ones who created our system, and there's genuine sociopaths who adapted to our system that they created. Um, but you know, like some people, it's just like they can't adopt it. That's why a lot of people they walk away from jobs. We have like issues with employment in certain sectors because certain things just go against people's conscience, and we need more conscious people. I need people waking up to all the injustices. You know, don't become well adjusted to the injustice you see. You know, we need to speak out, do something about it. You know, for us to be the generation that changes it. Day's been made better. Right back at you. It's good to have you. And I do got to start getting ready for my. It's a costume party. They did the same to JFK when they tried to force JFK to attack Cuba. Well, yeah, and then I think it goes a little deeper because when we go into RFK, right? There's a lot of conspiracy aficionados who speculate that Israel has something to do with RFK's assassination. He was assassinated by a Palestinian named. He had two first names. Not Muhammad. I went to school with him, Muhammad. But anyways, he was the cat who was supposedly killing RFK Senior. There was a lot of eyewitnesses who said that he was shot at from one area, but then like the shot that killed him was from behind where he was being shot at, and they were saying that it was like a Manchurian Candidate style situation where he was being tortured, product of the MK Ultra project, and yeah, and it's just like it didn't have much validity. I mean, it's compelling. I mean, I know about Project MK Ultra, but then like watching RFK Jr.'s, because he was one of those people I was super excited about. Hearing him talk about the response to the virus, um, and the mandated injections. I was like, yeah, go RFK. But then like hearing him like talk about Israel, it's like, what is wrong? Like he seems like he's just so evolved on this one controversial subject, but then on this other subject, he just like shit the bed when the rest of the country is catching on to Israel's shenanigans. Um, but then like Sirhan, the people who may have trained Sirhan to kill his dad. They saw like a young child without a father figure, and they could have brought him into the Project MK Ultra, and he could be the new Manchurian Candidate. So it's just like um, I don't know. Israel, it's just like this rabbi said, it's hard to justify their right to continuing to exist, let alone in Palestine. Because, like I said, they were signed over. Their land was signed over in 1917. Hitler rose to power in 1933, and Israel became a state in 1948. It's just something off about that math. That's why it's like a lot of Palestinian leadership. They said they don't want to go the way of the red man in reference to the Native Americans because they see the plan at hand. And it's just like if you want to make shit right with the Ashkenazi Jews, give them land from the people who oppress them, the Germans, from the fucking Poles. Give them Ukrainian land. Move them into Ukraine. What the fuck? Why are you stealing land from Palestinians? And if you're gonna like like you could have some kind of a system where it's just like the Israeli Jews who are like fighting the oppressors, who are like standing up to their government. Maybe the Palestinians want them because they were allies. That's something that they would decide. Wouldn't be decided by fucking creeps like this asshole piece of shit telling the host what to wear. So it's just like it's something needs to be done. But it shouldn't be done by the current leadership who got them into the kerfuffle that they're in right now. It's just like when we look to leadership on our climate issues from the people who got us in the position we're in. It's like by the time you should, if your soil is poison and your water and air, it's time to stop looking to the people who got you there. They own the programs that got you scared. Then they end your free speech. Now they got you heard. All right. Great costume. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. It's good seeing you. Long time. I was like looking for some of the. I was gonna do something with the clips from the shows from I did for Full Screen to just kind of show like their nefarious ways and. But anyways, yeah. Long time no see. Used to watch your rewinds in high school. Really respect the growth through the years. Keep doing your thing, man. Well, I appreciate that. You got to keep growing, or else you die. Like Martin Luther King said, the day you stop talking about things that matter is the day you start to die. So always stay on top of what's important. Hello, sorry for bothering you. I want to offer a promotion for your channel. Viewers, followers, viewers, chat. Price is low. Okay, no, that's a spam bot. Anyway, I'm glad to see her still creating. Oh yeah, nah. Well, in more ways than one. I got back into theater, and right now, I had a musical. That's what this QR code is. Revolution the Musical, I had seen acted out in a theater, and now I was talking to someone about directing it. So that'll probably be next year. So it's gonna be like I'm more than likely gonna film it and share it online as well. But that's like the new platform. It's harder to censor. I mean, it definitely is censorable because I get, these theaters, they get funded by the same people who I critique online. And the play that when someone else directed it, they had creative control. They made me, they censored me. They made me rewrite stuff out, certain stuff I couldn't mention. But I'm gonna figure a way around it. And when I have like actual creative license, it's gonna be something totally different because I was not a fan of what they created. So yeah, it's gonna be glorious. That's dope. I'm gonna keep up with you. Well, let's do that. All right, and we'll have to do it because I'll be back next Saturday, maybe Friday. We'll have to check the schedule, but I try to do these Saturdays, 5-ish o'clock, sometimes later, sometimes earlier, depending on what I got going on. Cause I'm multifaceted in the creativity. So I've been building sets, I'm doing wardrobe, I'm doing a lot of different stuff to help other people's stuff as well. And I'm still writing, I'm still creating my own shit as well. So it's just, it's a process. But right now I gotta get ready for a Halloween costume party. So I appreciate everybody for showing up, and I love y'all. And next Saturday, maybe earlier, we'll be doing this again. So thank y'all, and fight the power. That's the only way from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Peace. Employee evaluations are at NatesVlogs.net for the